Jane Seymour, c. 1508 October 24, 1537, was the third wife of King Henry VIII of England and the mother of his only male heir, Edward VI. Her life, though shorter than many of her contemporaries, was marked by significant historical impact and personal drama. Here's a detailed look at her life and legacy. Early life and background. Jane Seymour was born around 1508, the daughter of Sir John Seymour and Marjorie Wentworth. The Seymour family was of modest gentry status, with lands and a reputation in the county of Wiltshire. Jane's early life was spent at the family estate of Woolhall, where she was educated in the usual accomplishments for a young woman of her time, including music, needlework, and the skills of a gentlewoman. Marriage and rise to prominence. In the early 1530s, Jane Seymour's family began to make connections with the court. Her brother, Edward Seymour, would later become the Earl of Hertford and a prominent figure in the court of Henry VIII. Jane herself became a lady-in-waiting to Queen Catherine of Aragon and, later, to Anne Boleyn. In 1535, Henry VIII began to show interest in Jane Seymour, which was a dramatic shift from his previous focus on Anne Boleyn. Jane's demure and unassuming demeanor contrasted sharply with Anne's more flamboyant and controversial presence. By the end of 1535, Jane and Henry were romantically involved, and the king's interest in her was well known. Marriage to Henry VIII. Jane's relationship with Henry reached a pivotal moment in 1536. Henry's marriage to Anne Boleyn was increasingly tumultuous, and the king's quest for a male heir was becoming desperate. On May 19, 1536, Anne was executed, and Henry quickly moved to marry Jane. They wed on May 30, 1536, just 11 days after Anne's execution, which was a testament to Henry's urgency. Jane's marriage to Henry was seen as a stabilizing factor in the court, and she was quickly accepted by many as the new queen. Her calm and gentle nature earned her the affection of the English people and the respect of the court. Pregnancy and the birth of Edward VI. Jane's most significant contribution to English history was her successful pregnancy and the birth of a male heir. She became pregnant shortly after her marriage, and her pregnancy was closely watched by the court and the public. On October 12, 1537, Jane gave birth to a son, Edward, who would later become Edward VI. The birth was a moment of great celebration and secured Jane's place in history as the mother of a male heir. However, the birth was not without complications. Jane suffered severe postpartum complications and, despite the efforts of the best physicians of the time, her health rapidly declined. She remained in the Tower of London for a period to recuperate but was unable to recover fully. Death and legacy. Jane Seymour died on October 24, 1537, just 12 days after giving birth to Edward. Her death was a great blow to Henry VIII, who mourned her deeply. Jane was buried beside Henry's first wife, Catherine of Aragon, in St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. Henry, deeply affected by Jane's death, had her portrait placed in the Chapel Royal and ensured her legacy was preserved. Jane Seymour's legacy is primarily defined by her role as the mother of Edward VI. Edward's reign, though brief, was significant in English history, marked by religious reform and political change. Jane's son became king at a young age, and her influence extended through her child's reign. Historical impact and influence. Jane Seymour's brief tenure as queen did not leave a lasting personal imprint on the court or the state in terms of policies or reforms. However, her role in securing the male heir that Henry VIII so desperately wanted changed the course of English history. Her son, Edward VI, became a central figure in the Protestant Reformation in England, continuing the reforms initiated by his father and shaping the religious landscape of the country. Jane's life and death also reflect the precarious nature of royal life in the Tudor period. Her rapid rise and fall from grace underline the intense personal and political pressures faced by women in her position. While her life was relatively short, her contributions to the Tudor dynasty were crucial, and her legacy lived on through her son. Personal characteristics and perception. Jane Seymour is often portrayed as the ideal of Tudor womanhood: modest, demure, and dutiful. Her contrast with the more flamboyant and controversial Anne Boleyn highlighted her perceived virtues and contributed to her favorable image in the historical record. Her ability to produce a male heir was seen as a divine endorsement of her character, further enhancing her reputation. In historical accounts, Jane is frequently depicted as the most successful of Henry's wives in terms of achieving her primary objective. Her successful childbirth ensured her place in history, but her early death meant she did not have the chance to influence the court or the nation as her predecessors and successors did. Historical accounts and representation. Jane Seymour's story has been the subject of various historical accounts, novels, and adaptations, often focusing on her role as the mother of Edward VI and the impact of her brief but pivotal marriage to Henry VIII. In popular culture, she is frequently portrayed as a figure of tragic nobility, her life cut short by the very success that endeared her to Henry. Conclusion. Jane Seymour's life, though marked by tragedy and brevity, had a profound impact on English history. Her marriage to Henry VIII and the birth of Edward VI secured her place in the annals of history, and her son's reign played a crucial role in shaping the future of England. Jane remains a significant historical figure, not only for her role as a queen but for the legacy she left through her son, whose influence extended far beyond her own lifetime. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe our channel.